Hello there! Today I am going to be absolutely demolishing the Hansbot on chess.com. He's rated about 1,000. I don't really play the bots on chess.com, so I thought this would be fun. I just picked a random one that I figured I could beat. Hopefully I can beat 1,000 rated bot. And yes, I'm wearing an avocado blanket. I am chilly. All right, let's get into it. So here we see, I'm gonna put it, I play on random, no help of any kind, and we'll start it up. So I'm playing white. And he says, "Hey, what's your favorite rock band?" Mine is Queen, of course. Get it? Because Queen is a chess piece? I'm going to play E4. And he says, "The beautiful opening chords of a song are the same as the first moves of the game. This is a tactical opening." We have a Sicilian. I'm going to play A3. This is the Gotham recommendation. I'm going to play B4. Think he'll go into the gambit? Is he going to accept it? Take? Oh, he doesn't take the pawn. Okay, so I am going to be fully honest here. I'm sorry, Gotham. I have not fully studied. I have not brushed up. I've studied all of the lines once upon a time, but they have since left my brain. So what do we have here? We've got two pawns that we can take. We could also push. We could ignore, although ignoring would be kind of foolish. Let's see. If I takes with the queen, I can play knight c3 and hit the queen, kind of Scandi style, and then maybe I push the pawn to b5. That looks interesting. Let's go and do that. So we draw the queen out, right? And then we play knight c3 to hit the queen. He can give a check. That's okay. I'm not worried about that. And okay, that is a free queen. We're going to take that. Okay. So we're up a queen, yeah? What do you do when you're up a queen? I'm trying to do one move at a time, but it's playing like both for some reason. That's strange. When you're up a queen, generally either go for checkmate or just trade all the pieces into an endgame that you are going to completely just be dominant in. Because think about it like a soccer game, right? If a player gets, and I'm using I got this reference from Daniel Naroditsky, this metaphor, but like a soccer game, if one player gets red carded and it's now 10v11 players, you might not notice a huge difference. You're going to feel it probably, but not a ton. But if you get rid of all the players and you just have 1 versus 0, what's going to stop you from scoring the goal, right? So we want to simplify everything down. But here, so in that vein, I was thinking, okay, we can take the knight on f6. It's totally fine. You're up a queen. But you also see that the knight can fork the king and the rook, and that is what we're going to do. So, and he says, "Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening." Okay, so the king is in the center. We're going to take the rook. So we're up a queen and a rook. King goes back. Okay, so what do we do now? Well, I'm just taking a look here. We have to finish our development, of course. We want to get our pieces out and basically just checkmate him as soon as we can. So what am I thinking about how to do that? Well, I could open up the rook, maybe, but I don't really care about that. So let's just develop a bishop. Just bring our bishop into the game, and he attacks our queen. Okay, so we don't hang our queen like Hans did, right? What can we do instead? We can block with the knight and walk into a pin, or we can just gain a tempo and play f3 and make the bishop move. Normally, you wouldn't want to play f3 because it weakens your king quite a bit. Here, there's not as much to worry about with that, simply because we are up a queen and there are no threats from black. But at the same time, we do want to finish our development, and we can always play like h3, g4. So I am going to actually do this. Am I scared of the knight coming to e5? No. Why? Well, I could just play d3, and our knight would have 2 defenders. And if he takes the bishop, we take, and our queen gets opened up. We're fine with that. And if, he takes on f3, the pawn would have just taken. And the bishop would have had to move, or if the bishop takes, the pawn takes, and the knight is, here, but not causing too much trouble. We are up a queen. So I said we're going to play h3. Let's do that. Just kind of ask him a question, see where he's going. Okay, so he goes there. Now maybe d3. Open up our dark squared bishop. Okay, so he finally takes the pawn on a3. And we probably want to snap that off the board just to get rid of any possible headaches, that could occur from, that pawn becoming a queen or something like that. So we're just going to take this. Bishop can take, but the rook is defending. We also got to remember we have a knight on a8, so like if the king ever moves, if we can save the knight, we want to do that. Okay, so now that we have some more open lines and our pieces are a bit more active, we can start thinking a bit more about going for mate. And how do we do that? Well, I figure it'll be easier if we, get our king to safety and get our rook in. So I know I said we're looking for mate, but we're just keeping an eye out for things. Okay, so the king runs a little bit. Fine. Let us... What should we do here? I'm trying to think for a second. I like just bringing the rook to the open file. We could also, go for some, knight h4, but then, the bishop just slides back, and why are we sending our knight to the edge of the board, right? So let's just play this. Bring the rook to the semi-open file. Okay, so rook h6 doesn't do too much. The king is still very weak. Now, how do we actually go and attack the king? I noticed, our rook could take on a7 and get to the 7th rank, but the knight is defending it. So a thought occurs to bring the bishop to b5 and take the knight off the board. We could also just advance our pawns down the board and open everything up. I'm trying to think of, what we might want to do here. Let us, what? Bishop b5, hit the knight, see what it wants to do. Okay, so, here we have to be a bit careful. We don't just snap take the knight, right? I mean, we can, but you notice the rook is now x-raying our king, and this pawn on g2 is pinned. So if the bishop takes on h3, we won't be able to take back, right? And then he's going to be threatening rook takes g2, and we don't want to deal with any of that headache. So what do we do instead? Well, remember that move I brought up earlier, knight h4? Now it seems like a much better move. It defends g2, and if bishop takes h3, we take the rook. So it's basically a fork of these two pieces, and we definitely want to simplify. So we're going to go knight h4, and we're going to take the bishop. That was basically one of black's only active pieces. Now it's pretty much just the rook. And what do we do now? Well, what was my idea? We take, right? Take the knight. Just take everything, and then we're going to take the pawn. Now we've got a rook on the 7th rank, and that's going to be very good for us. And the knight goes back, which is pretty passive. So what do we do now? That we know we're winning, right? And I keep saying, what do we do now? But we keep getting to different stages of the game. Yes, we could have just gone full out for a mating attack, but just nothing wrong with just taking it one step at a time here. Like, we could try sacrificing our rook to open up the king, and I was looking at that, but I don't, why sacrifice a rook when you could just slowly get your pieces into the attack, right? So, queen d2 seems like a fine move. Thing is, black has no threats. So if black has no threats, you can take all the time you want. There's no need to rush. So here, I like queen b4, hitting the knight. And, okay, so we can't take the pawn because the rook is defending. But what if we just go here? So, I realized that I missed queen b8 while editing. Yeah, that would have just been mate in 2. Yeah, ignore that. Now we've got our rook and our queen teamed up, on the 7th rank here. Okay. So, what do I notice? I had a bit of tunnel vision going on here with, the 7th rank, but we actually just have mate. The king has no escape, and our rook is going to take away the e7 square, and our queen can deliver mate on any of these two squares, and that's going to be GG. And he says, good game. Another one bites the dust, I guess. Another one bites the dust. Okay, well, that was kind of fun, huh? I don't know why I yelled that, but yeah, no, that was kind of fun. I didn't play the best, you know, I wasn't thinking too hard. I was just kind of like, you know what, this looks good. We're going to bring our pieces around. And for, you know, bots like that, bots are weird, you know, they play a bit strange. Sometimes they play really well. Sometimes they hang their queen on move 3. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, make sure to like the video with the, you know, the like button. And subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. Feel free to leave a comment below with your thoughts, suggestions. I almost said your comments, but that's implied by, you know, the comments section. Anyway, I've kept you here long enough. Have a great day.